Hello, hello. Welcome to this amazing live event, the new Virtual SKO, Sales Kickoff. I love it. It's live. We've got four amazing speakers here. We have Kelly Radcliffe from Seagate. We got Jill Guardia from Trinet. We got Ashley Phillips from Saleshood. We got Callie App from Domo. What a crew. Look at this. And if you're noticing, they're all sporting some really cool backgrounds that I'm sure they will tell us all about it. I see Explorers, I see Triumph, I see Breaking Barriers. Thank you for moving over. We're already kicking off this new Virtual SKO in style. And I just want to thank everyone for participating and for being here. We've got a great number of folks dialing in. Logistically, you can put questions in the chat feed. I'm monitoring it. Let me walk you through the flow. And then before I have each one of these amazing speakers introduce themselves. So here is our flow for today. We have 90 minutes. We wanted to do a little bit longer because we felt like there's a lot to talk about. And we have three great companies, you know, Kelly's example of what she's been doing at Seagate with her team, and Jill's example of what she's been doing at Trinet, and Callie's example of what she's been doing with her team at Domo. There are three different ways to execute a virtual SKO. You got a 2-day event, you got a 5-day event, you got a multi-week event. And so we thought a little bit of diversity around the event strategy would be interesting. And therefore we decided to have a broader conversation. So the way we've got this structured, each person's gonna share. First, each person is gonna introduce themselves. And so we're gonna have each one just say hello, introduce themselves, where they're sitting, so forth. And then we're gonna go one at a time. Jill's gonna go first, kick us off with her amazing program at Triumph. And then Kelly's gonna come in and take us through her amazing program at Seagate. And then Callie's gonna tell us about her amazing program at Domo. We've allocated 10 minutes each, and maybe a little shorter, maybe a little longer. I got a clock. And then we'll pause for Q&A in between, and we'll time it. And so therefore, if you do have specific questions for Jill based on her program, you can. Then at the end of that first segment, where every person tells their story, shares their experiences, their lessons learned, then we'll have a broader panel where we can ask questions of all three. So that's kind of like our first half. Then the back half is, we've done a survey and we've got over 300 folks have responded. We've got some amazing feedback. We're gonna go through and show the industry results. What are people thinking? How are people, what are some of the things folks are worried about? What are some of the priorities folks have around virtual kickoffs? And we're gonna go through that together as a group. We're gonna click through the survey data. We're gonna go through it. It's gonna be fun. And again, you can ask questions. And then today we just launched Scoax, which is a virtual kickoff system and powered by Saleshood. And we're gonna show it to you. And what we've done is we've surveyed our customers, we've surveyed this group, we've taken best practices, lessons learned, and we've created a 30-day SKOx program in a box inside of our platform. And we have the amazing Ashley, who's gonna walk us through it. And so we got a jam-packed live event here, and I think I'm super excited. We got folks from across the country, around the world. Thank you for being here. And why don't we take a couple minutes and have each person just introduce themselves, say hello, where are you right now, and where do you work? And I know everyone knows that, but say a couple words. So Kelly, why don't you go first?
All right, thanks, Eli. I'm really honored and excited to be here. I'm coming to you, although I look like I might be like on a foreign planet, coming to you from South Bay in San Francisco Bay Area. If anyone knows Campbell, that's where I sit. I work at Seagate. I've been with Seagate. This is actually my 20th anniversary. Just happened this summer, so I know I look like a baby. I started when I was 10. But yeah, it's been a great experience working at Seagate, and I've been in that time period. I've been in the sales organization my entire career, but in the last few years, I've been in sales training and enablement. So I'm really building my skills here, and it's great to be with these two other ladies who have a lot of great experience that I've been learning from as well.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you. It's great to have you and Campbell. And Callie, tell us where you're sitting and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. Thanks, Eli. And it has been great. I agree, Kelly, getting to know the team on this panel. And I'm sure we're all just getting ideas right and left for our upcoming SKOs. So I'm Callie Apt. I'm located in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I lead the global sales enablement team at Domo. I've been with Domo for about 5 years and built my career actually in the proposal field before I transitioned to sales enablement. So that's a little bit about my background. And anything else you want to know, Eli?
No, great. We're gonna hear your awesome story. You've spoken multiple times, and thank you again for coming and sharing your awesome story.
Sure.
I'm gonna do Ashley, and then Jill, I'm gonna let you lead off and have you introduce yourself and then tell your story. So Ashley, why don't you say hello, and where are you sitting, and how long you been at the hood, and a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, hi everybody, Ashley Phillips. I'm a solution consultant with Sales Hood, and I'm sitting in Northwest Arkansas. I've been here over 6 months now, which has been great considering how we've had to live with our lifestyle. So it's been great to be by family. But let's see, yeah, I've almost been at Sales Hood for almost 2 years. I'm creeping up there, Eli, getting close.
Love it.
And I love what I do. I love meeting, all these other enablement practitioners and getting to listen to these great webinars and throwing in a little bit of demo when all the great ideas come from our customers. So I'm excited to be here today. And yeah, I'm excited to hear what these ladies have to present about SKOx, because virtual events are what we got to do now.
Awesome. Thank you, Ashley. And those that don't know me, my name is Eli, and I'm actually here in San Francisco, and I am in the San Francisco office. I'm the only one here, but I'm in the San Francisco office. So thank you everyone for introducing yourselves. We have Jill, who is an amazing leader, and I've known Jill for a long time. She's spoken at Multiplier. She's an award winner and recognized by everyone on the planet as one of the leaders in sales enablement, and also a founding member of the Boston chapter of the Sales Enablement Society. And I thought, Jill, you could introduce yourself, and then you'll take center stage, and you could tell us a little bit about Triumph. So.
Thank you, Eli. I also am honored to be here. I love talking about kickoffs. It's a lot of fun. It's really a great, fulfilling part of the role of a sales enablement practitioner, in my opinion. Jill Guardia, I'm the Executive Director of Sales Enablement for Trinet. Trinet is a PEO, which is a professional employer organization. And that means that we sell HR solutions, like all-in-one HR solutions, to small and medium-sized businesses. And we're very pleased to also be a Sales Hood client, and Sales Hood has helped us facilitate what I consider a very good event, if not great event, for our first time going virtual. So I'm going to tell you our story. And I've got some of my team here, and Eli's used the word amazing. I think that the whole team was really amazing about pulling this together. We conducted our event for shy of 1,000 people. We support just the sales organization, and then what I would consider kind of invited guests. So guests come from all parts of the company, but you can kind of think of, some folks from marketing, some folks from HR, some folks from product, executives, etc., who are always invited to even a live event. So these are the types of people that were in addition to the sales organization. But the primary audience was sales. And we had planned, like many of you, a live event. We were going to do a week-long event in Las Vegas in August. So we were well down the path on planning that event, and we had been in Las Vegas the prior August. We had what we would consider a very good event then, so we were trying to build on that and just keep going to improve it year over year. And then we got the news: you can't go to Las Vegas. You've got to do this event some other way. And so we really just immediately buckled down and said, how are we going to do this? Now, we did have some other restrictions that were given to us, which everyone probably will laugh a little bit about. You don't get that same budget, right? So if you had a big budget for what anyone would consider a reasonable budget to do a live event, you don't get that same thing to do the event virtually. And oh, by the way, no new vendors. So you got to use what you have at your fingertips. And for us, that meant that we had to use Teams, Microsoft Teams, which is our conferencing solution, GoToWeb, SalesHood, Salesforce, Microsoft Office, kind of the things that we already had. So we immediately got to work, and we decided to create a program. A Triumph is the name of our event, and rather than having an additional theme, we just stuck with Virtual Triumph. And that worked because really, when you think about it, we were trying to triumph over all the adversity that everyone in sales was facing in this crazy year of 2020. And so the team and I got together, and we decided that we would look at meeting the sales rep at their job. So how can we do this but not interrupt everything they do? Let them have time to conduct business, which is one of the things you often get as feedback when you do a live event is, I don't have enough time to make phone calls. I don't have enough time to do my deal. So we really chose to do that. In the end, we ended up selecting a 4-day program where we committed to not exceed 4 hours in each and every day. And then we broke that up even farther so that we took our mornings and we did what you might think of as more the general session type things. And we did that in 90 minutes or less, Monday through Thursday of that week. And then we had a nice long break. And then in the afternoon, we did more traditional training type things, breakouts and all hands type meetings. We decided that the content was really going to revolve around selling fundamentals, kind of getting back to business. All this change and shift to virtual selling in this new way just really offered an opportunity to kind of get people to go back to basics. Okay, different environment. How do I conduct my prospecting? How do I conduct my first meeting? How do I conduct a demo? How do I use this technology, for crying out loud? So we really sort of went back to basics. And then we did something which I consider unique, is that we did a call for auditions. And we put a call out to all of the sales organization, and we said, do you have a great idea that you think will be inspirational to the sales organization? Something that will give them food for thought, that they can enact that day even. And we had over 30 folks from sales think they had something, which was great. And we did like The Voice or America's Got Talent, and we actually had them come and pitch to us. And we had them also record their pitch in SalesHood so that we could have an extended version of a panel select those. And those became our kind of key themes for each and every day. So we had 4 different themes, and we had 4 keynote presenters from the sales organization. And they were part of that morning 90-minute main tent type thing. And then we layered on top of that breakout training sessions, and then all hands sessions on top of that were thematic. So let's say the first day was all about prospecting. In the morning, we had someone come talk about how they have incorporated video into their prospecting. And then in the afternoon, we did some more training on how to use video in your prospecting. And then in the afternoon, we talked about, well, what are the messages and how are you going to tie that all together? And then they could literally use that night or the next morning. And before I just wrap up, so the last thing that I think is important here is that we were able to bring 2 keynote speakers to our event, 2 external keynote speakers. And I think that was also variety and was a bit of the unexpected. So it was nice that we did that. We did 1 business speaker and 1 motivational speaker. And just the virtual way and that price tag really made that more affordable to us. And we also historically have used a comedian to host our event. And we kept our comedian, and that was a nice surprise. People didn't expect that, and it was a welcome surprise to get that sort of familiarity when so much has changed on people. So all in all, I would say our results were quite high. We got a 98% attendance across the whole thing.
Wow.
And we had a 94% positive rating overall on the event. So we were very pleased with it. And I said when we were prepping on this, I said to Eli and Kelly, during the week, I was like, wow, that was great. We should do this like 2 or 3 times a year. That everybody showed up, everybody was jazzed, everybody got really motivated. And we met them where they were. So it was not like an amazing burden of crazy effort. My team would probably argue otherwise. But all in all, it was a good event. And I do see a geo question from Danny. We're US only, so we didn't have to worry about follow the sun. But we did, so our morning event started at 8 a.m. Pacific. So that's how we did it. So we did an 8 a.m. Pacific, and then we took a big break, and then we started, I think, at 1 p.m. Pacific. We really wanted to try and keep it in essentially an 8 to 6 day, no matter where you are.
Wow, that's just, first of all, a round of applause to you and your team. Amazing. I think those of you that are listening, you know, there was a lot of knowledge that was just shared, practical, real life, you know, 4 days I wrote down, you know, going where the reps are, back to basics. I love how you broke the content up. I'm going to read some of the questions if that's okay, Jill. I think one question, anonymous, how many members on your team and from which departments involved? If you can't share, you don't want to share, folks, just feel free.
Yeah, so I am lucky to have a very good, solid team, and it's a decent size. So we have 15 people on the team, including myself and some contract folks. We did do it all by ourselves, though, in terms of we didn't have other people in the company. I didn't have a marketing. We chose really because we were trying to execute on a shoestring. I also do have an external event manager that we work with, and they did all the production, which was a godsend. And if you don't have those resources inside, you should find someone who can help you do that, because we never would have been able to do the production quality editing that needed to happen for the main tent stuff. We just don't have that skill set at the ready.
Right. Main tent, like what does main tent mean? For those
so main tent means like general session for everybody. Yep. There isn't a breakout. Everybody's there. It's usually like the executives, the keynote speakers, that type of thing. And I saw another question. We pre-recorded all of that and we stitched it all together. So literally we just had to press one button and it ran. And
but don't tell anyone.
But don't tell anyone. Don't tell, if you know anyone from Trinet, don't tell my secret, please.
There was an interesting question. How did the veterans respond to back to basics? Did they find it too fundamental?
No.
And then, yeah, go ahead.
It didn't, and I'll tell you why, because we did the training sessions that we did. We had, that also came, we call it FUBU. We've always called it FUBU, predates me, for us, by us. So in addition to the auditions we did for the 4 key folks who delivered one topic a day, we did a separate audition for those FUBU sessions. They were 30 minutes in length, not to exceed 3 slides, and they were done by sellers. And we gave everyone an opportunity to select their 3 choices. And then we put everybody in according to one of their top 3 choices. And we had some directors of sales and some senior reps who delivered, and we tried to get the more tenured folks into those. And they were very pleased with them. And I see, like, so we pre-recorded all of our morning activities, and we recorded live all of our breakout sessions, and then we posted everything at the end of every day in SalesHood in a curriculum path for our SKO. So if you missed anything during the day, you could take it immediately, essentially.
No, it's great. Thank you. I think, yeah, the question, what platform did you use? So, you said, combination of everything you had, SalesHood, Teams, Office, and, no, it's great. And, and you did some free work as well with SalesHood where you had people record some of those pitches at the beginning.
We did a little bit of pre-work and a little bit of, and we still are doing post-work. We just did this in August, and that's all done in SalesHood.
No, this is great. I think, let's see here. Any other questions there that are interesting that we didn't cover? There's a lovely idea of themes for each day. Did you incorporate gamification at all?
So we did not really incorporate a formal gamification. We did use Kahoot throughout a variety of places, but we do want to do that in the future. We kind of got wrapped around the axle about what could we really do with Microsoft Teams, and really didn't want to push the envelope too far. We wanted to control what we can control, and so we kind of paused on that.
Oh, it's great. I think so Danielle was asking if you've tested and certified, and so you're doing some post stuff now.
Yeah, we continue to do that. We didn't do any tester certification during, but we continue to test and certify all along the way, particularly on messaging. And we're rolling out selling through curiosity, which is the opportunity to, when you go back to selling fundamentals through that, we'll be doing a lot of reinforcement and testing. And that all dovetails into what we did within the conference.
Jill, you're amazing. Your team's amazing. Trinet's amazing. We're a happy Trinet customer. And here's what we're going to do. I think let's give Jill a round of applause. And thank you, Jill, for sharing. We're going to bring Jill back after we hear from Kelly, and after we hear from Kelly, we're going to bring Jill back. We'll do a broader panel where you can ask them questions. I think it's good to hear different approaches, and that's what we want to do. We want to give you diversity of approaches. So Jill, thank you. I'm gonna unpin you now. Anything else for you to say, share? You're amazing. Thank you. I'm going to unpin video, and folks, keep the questions coming. That was great. And so now I'm going to pin Kelly. And so, Kelly, I'm going to keep the energy going and let you just jump in and tell your story versus going back and forth. You've got this awesome video that really kind of embodies the theme. I'm going to let you talk about it, but folks, please allow me to introduce Kelly Radcliffe from Seagate. And Kelly, tell us your story.
Thanks, Eli. There is some echoing in my story from what Jill shared, but I'll tell you a little bit about Seagate. We've been around for over 40 years as a leader in the storage industry. So we're not a new company, we're an older company, and we do have a traditional way of doing things. So this year has really thrown a lot of people for a loop. We generate over 10 billion in annual revenue. And when we start reporting on our shipments, we now, instead of talking about units, we talk about exabytes. And that's just part of what I'll get into is our shift in how our sellers have to think and how our customers have to think. We are a large manufacturing company. We have over 40,000 employees worldwide, but our sales organization is very effectively structured for a targeted global impact. So when I'm supporting a sales organization, it is in EMEA, it's in the Americas, and it's in Asia, APAC, China. So I'm working with a lot of different time zones, a lot of different perspectives, and a lot of different needs. Specifically for our sales meeting, we had around 500 attendees. A good portion of those, most of them were actual salespeople, sales management, sales representatives. About 300 of those were from sales. And then our extended sales operations organization, around 150 people, they attended. plus 75 cross-functional key partners that we work with. We are really big on our themes when we design these sales meetings, which are generally live events. This year's event was supposed to be in my hometown of San Diego. I was so excited that we were going to go to San Diego and be in such a beautiful, America's finest city, be such a beautiful place. But of course, early in the year, we made the decision to switch to a virtual meeting. And our theme was all about data voyage. And it's about the rise of the edge and actualization of IT 4.0, which is something we reference. Internally, we look at different technology waves. We've had so much of the laptop and the personal computer, and then moving into cloud. And now we're talking about IT 4.0 and edge devices and how you move data, from your personal devices back to major data warehouses, and how you make that data useful right now, as opposed to waiting for something to run on a nightly basis. We have to then look at different customers. Some of our customers are moving with that transition, and some of it involves working with new customers, new companies out there. So we have a team of core reps who are working with our long-term, loyal customers. And then we've got some hunters that are out there looking for the new business. So how do we bridge what our core salespeople need to talk about and what our new hunters have to go look at? So it was really kind of interesting to use this theme of a data voyage, and talking about, our rally cry was "We are explorers," and that's what everyone has to be, from the reps who are already in this business and as exploring those IT 4.0 spaces and edge spaces, and then the people that have to come along and need to learn. Our core reps still need to learn. How do they have those new conversations instead of talking to a buyer? How do they talk to an engineer? Especially if they don't have a whole team coming with them to have that conversation. So the theme really worked well with our experience, and we did a lot of design work around that. I have a wonderful dedicated team of 4 people that work for me, 2 full-time employees, and then I'm lucky to have 2 interns that have been staying on with us. But then we also work internally with an event team. We have an extended event team of about 15 people. It's cross-functional between sales and marketing and IT. So we partner every year. The same team builds the event every single year. But our creative team did a wonderful job really building out this explorer theme. We had, in addition to building a microsite, we use Microsoft SharePoint, so we have a microsite that had all kinds of collateral on it, from Teams backgrounds, digital wallpaper, PowerPoint presentation. There's a whole theme that has different explorer, from space to underwater, just making a unique experience for our attendees. And even the swag that normally you'd get if you were at the live event, we had everything go out to our attendees, and it all was focused around the current reality of there was a huggle in it, so a huggle face mask, but then also still wanting to play with this idea of being able to go on a voyage. So we had an RFID passport holder, and we had a compass that was given out. It's a really nice compass. So just some things to kind of understand that people are still excited and want to get out and go places, but that we also have this reality of not being able to be face-to-face. And if you are face-to-face, you've got a face mask on. So those were just some of the things we were looking at. As a planning team and looking at what the attendees would need, we set up for training. We had a pre-event, we had main week, which would normally be 3 full days. This was still 3 full days of the main event. And then we've also had some post-event sharing out of content. So our attendees did see pre-recorded sessions, which we call general sessions, that would be executive messaging, and also some different videos that our creative team has presented. That would take up about 4 hours of the first day. Then in the afternoon, they did some regional Q&A sessions and awards sessions. So then we would go to our second and third day, which we reserved for product and professional skills training. But this all sort of coincided with our initial relationship with SalesHood. So just earlier this year, we started working with SalesHood. And so at the same time that we're preparing for our sales meeting, we're also getting all of our salespeople on board with SalesHood. So just like you know, Jill was talking about having these videos that people presented as part of our onboarding activities to SalesHood, we had some of our reps do videos. They had to basically do a video, 2-minute or less video, to sell an obsolete item. So they had a choice of 5 items that they could sell. We were then grading them, you know, basically on the clarity of their speech, their enthusiasm, you know, what their messaging was, how it all looked. And then our managers, our sales managers, would shared with us the ones that they thought were the best. We had a group of 3 winners and then 1 special award. And we worked that into our professional skills training, which part of it focused on remote selling. Although we have a really mature sales organization, this is all very new to them. They work remote, but they're not used to working with customers remotely, in the sense that when they have major meetings, you know, those would be face-to-face. And a lot of our salespeople, we were finding out, were not as familiar or not as comfortable having these larger meetings and larger agenda meetings virtually. And we heard that from our sales leaders, that this was an area of focus. So we partnered with a company that SalesHood has been working with. If you have SalesHood, then part of your package includes this remote selling information. We utilized that in our pre-work, and we partnered with the company that put that together. And
Winning by design.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, winning by design.
Oh, winning by design, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had winning by design come in and do a remote selling session with us. And in that session, we used Kahoot, just as Jill talked about. So there was some gamification there. But we had a really good full event that went from pre-recorded messaging to also live training that we set up. There was a total of 4 hours of live training, 2 hours of product, 2 hours of professional, and then also training that was set up with different learning paths through SalesHood. So based on whether a rep is selling our core products or selling more of the newer, you know, looking at the systems, the IT 4.0 side, they had a range of different content that they could pick to take on their own time and in their regional time frames. And then the professional skills was required across the board. Everyone participated in that, but they had 2 hours of live training on different topics, and then 2 hours of pre-recorded content or learning paths that was available. And what we've been doing after the fact is that each day we highlight one of those modules that was on SalesHood or that isn't on SalesHood, because we know that people, you know, they only had so much time to go through the training that was offered. So they might not be aware that there was a module available. You know, if they're a core rep, they might not have really understood that there was something in the IT 4.0 section that would be really useful or informative for them. So here they get a chance to see what's there and go check it out on their own time. Yeah, and I just want to finish it up with, you know, we were really concerned that this was such a change for us, but we received so many comments from our sales leaders who all, you know, so many just said this was the best sales meeting we've had, period, not just virtual. So it was really wonderful how people felt energized and they felt like they understood our messaging and were excited, and even excited to use SalesHood, which was one of my goals, is that people would want to, you know, they would see how we were using SalesHood, see the benefits of it And, we've been contacted, my team has been contacted, like, we want to make more huddles. We want to do more with this platform. So it really worked out well for us.
Hey, Kelly, amazing. Let's do an applause. I think you're getting a lot of applause and great. Thank you. I think Kelly, really fabulous, fabulous. I think it is what you and Jill have both shared is it's possible to make an experience out of a kickoff that's virtual amazing, right? It doesn't need to suck. It can be a positive, rewarding, educational experience that's going to drive outcomes. And you've both proven that. And the fact that your leadership team, Kelly, has said best ever, like think about that for a second. Like think about that. That's amazing. Are you ready to take some questions?
Sure.
So I think, so first of all, there is a question that came up earlier, which I think is relevant to you. So can you maybe give a little more color around the time zones and how did you, like, what were some of the logistics you had to deal with to accommodate for everyone globally?
That was really confusing for me initially, and then even for our regional teams as we tried to figure this out. But one thing that did help us is that traditionally when we produce our product training, we actually offer it at 2 different times each time. So we have a one training that's generally geared for our Americas and EMEA's team, and then one that's geared more for our APAC and China. So we leveraged that structure to do our live training. We also just communicated out. We knew that in the regions, the leaders were going to have their own agenda for those 2nd and 3rd days. So we told them, here's your block for training. You should be doing, basically, we gave them a schedule. Here's your live training and here's your pre-recorded training. Take this block of time and go through that. And then, just, if you need to move the pre-recorded stuff around, you can, but just know it's going to take this much time to go through. So dedicate that to it.
It's great, Kelly. What about awards? How did you handle awards?
That was really different. We did it regionally, and we announced we had a slight change. We've previously done President's Club, and this year we changed it to CEO Circle because we don't have a president anymore. We have a CEO, but we just shared that out over WebEx, just like we did a live Q&A. So like we did our pre-recorded general sessions. Those were all done months ahead of time and been working on and were laid out for people to go through. But we did have a live Q&A panel with our executives. So we did the Q&A panel and then live awards at the same time.
No, that's great. I'm just watching the clock here. How did you get all the fun swag out to everyone? How did you? That was
a huge event. I wasn't personally involved with that, thank goodness. But we did have members of our event team that worked with our promotions team to get all of the, working with HR, working with the regions to get everybody's home address, and then working with our promotions team to get everything packaged up in those really lovely data voyage boxes and out to people's homes.
Oh, it's great. There is a question coming up, and I think about team building. And so what kind of team building did you incorporate into the experience before, during, after? And if you can comment, and I think we'll probably open that question up to everyone when we come together as well, because it's a hot question.
So, well, for me personally, team building is definitely one of the areas that we missed out on. And that was one thing that was commented on, just that, knowing that because we couldn't be live and because we couldn't do our traditional team building, and, this is the one time of year where our global sales organization gets to come together. That was something that everybody missed. We tried to bring that together a little bit more through using SalesHood, because things are done within teams there and the teams are interacting with each other and commenting together. So that's one way we did it. And then also when we had, using Microsoft, we had teams, groups that were created just for, EMEA, just for Americas, just for APAC. And there was a lot of interaction from our teams, just, talking about training, talking about messaging. Our EMEA team was actually all over it. They were on all the time sharing. They shared the training that they liked. They were making training recommendations. They were sharing information about a live session that was coming up. So they really utilized that Teams platform to interact with each other.
No, that's great. I think, Kelly, really a great job. And kudos to you and your team and everybody in your organization, your leaders. I love the theme, and I love how you weaved the theme into the fabric of your agenda and your program. It's spectacular. Let's give Kelly a round of applause. And amazing. Any final words to share before we bring Kelly up? Anything?
I would just echo what Jill said about, I think this is a great opportunity to more frequently bring the sales organization together using this virtual, using virtual platforms. I love to see everybody face to face at least once a year, but I think we have a great opportunity here now that we know it can be done. Get training out, get people together, do this on a more frequent basis. And then that actually makes the live in-person event, maybe it's a little bit more fun, even though it's already a fun thing. It's like you've been getting training all along. You've been doing these major events all along. So now let's make our face-to-face time maybe a little bit more celebratory.
Amazing. Amazing. We'll bring you back in a bit, and nice job, and love the background. And everybody, this is Callie Apt, and she's amazing, and can't wait to hear all the great stuff you're doing at Domo. So thank you, Callie.
Thanks, Eli. So before I talk about our SKO journey, I thought I'd share who Domo is if you don't know. So Domo is a public cloud company, software with more than 1,800 customers, including 40% of the Fortune 50. And we help top brands like Cisco, L'Oreal, Zillow to get BI leverage at cloud scale in record time. So what I mean by that is we help our customers leverage the data assets throughout their business to innovate and accelerate the way they do their business. So in terms of the scope of our SKO, it was to enable around 300 team members in the revenue organization. In terms of timing, I think I'm the most unique here, where our global SKO was actually supposed to be at the beginning of Q1. So for us, that's February and March timeframe. So I had a little less time than Jill. I wish I had until the end of August to do this. We were originally planning on a live event in March to coincide with our big customer conference, which is called Domopalooza, if you haven't heard of it. So when COVID hit, like all of you, we had to pivot to fully virtual. But the silver lining here is we had luckily already planned to deliver a series of pre-training before the live SKO. And this was actually our first year doing this, Eli. Like, this was the first time we did pre-training. It was my first time fully leading the SKO. And the pre-training was focused on, like you said, Kelly, I think getting some of those things done early that you want to train on, but then have it be a productive, live event. So what we had planned for the pre-training was helping our sellers learn our new corporate messaging. We had an official launch of a sales plays program to help our sellers open doors with really pointed messaging for our customers. And so what we ended up doing with such a short turnaround is, because we couldn't have a live event, we just extended the virtual education program that we had already started. And that was really the decision from our CRO to do that. So ours was over a series of probably 6 weeks. And I know that probably seems like a long time, but for us, we decided, we wanted to space it out a little bit more. During that difficult time, which I'm sure many of you can think back to in March, there was a lot of craziness going on in the world and in the economy. And our CRO really wanted us to stay customer focused, and he didn't really want to, take everybody out for a period of days. So what we ended up doing was each day, or a couple times a week actually, we had a live session, and then we would publish the recording and some additional reinforcement exercises and certifications in SalesHood. So by the end of the day, our global teams could watch them as well. And I think, Jill, you mentioned something similar. So we have 3 other global regions besides North America that we support. And so this made it so they weren't ever behind. They could still get all of the great content that night. So every day before we left, my team was so great. They were getting everything loaded into SalesHood, and we got it out to the teams. We actually planned all of our content to be 45 minutes with time for Q&A. So our CRO didn't want any session longer than 60 minutes because he thought we would start to lose engagement. And so that's kind of what we did. I'll talk about our theme. So you can see this breaking barriers background I have here. And what that meant to Domo was breaking down the barriers that we have for ourselves or other barriers to success, and really challenging ourselves to accomplish hard things through collaboration as a team. We really wanted to focus on the culture of collaborating as a sales organization. So we created a montage video, just like we normally would for a live event. We did a fun, inspiring montage video about breaking barriers, and we played it virtually. And then the other fun thing we did with SalesHood was we recorded, we had our leaders record videos on what it meant to them and their team to break down barriers. So then we shared those with the teams. So it was kind of interesting to get different perspectives on the theme and why this mattered to them. Okay, so theme I've gone through. As far as our agenda, as I mentioned earlier, it included corporate messaging and sales plays, and that was really a big push for Domo. But additionally, we had a lot of product announcements because like I mentioned, our Domopalooza customer conference is in March. So they got to get sneak peeks of everything around our product that everybody was really excited about. We also had different success stories from our sellers on what they were doing with sales plays and some wins that they had had. And then we also did Q&A sessions in each time zone. So that, we could make sure they had an interactive experience, and then a sales award presentation. So everything was tracked in SalesHood. Through the API to Domo, we were actually able to display leaderboards in our own platform, which was really great. As you know, leaderboards are a powerful tool because most people in sales want their name in lights. And so they don't want to be, not having their name in lights. So we gave away some small prizes to the reps who were the first to complete their elevator pitches on our new corporate messaging and some of the new things that we were rolling out. The other thing I want to just comment on that we pivoted to, and I know this isn't traditionally part of a live SKO, but with the first week of our sales force going fully remote in March, we actually decided to run a sales blitz. So what I mean by that is we ran a focused sales campaign for our teams to rally around breaking barriers, right? And generating pipeline around our new sales plays, content, and offers. So the training was all in SalesHood in our learning path for SKO. And then these blitzes have since evolved into a really fully integrated program with marketing. And we gave away some really cool prizes. So we called it March Madness. We gave away Apple products. I know you probably all can relate to this, but when everybody was homeschooling their kids, it was like, how many iPads and laptops do you have in your house? And you needed more. So we gave away a ton of fun Apple products, laptops, HomePods, what have you. And we even gave away in our last blitz a Peloton bike because we knew everyone was scrambling to make their own home gyms. So we tried to tie into the relevance of the times of what people were going through.
Super
yeah. Yeah, they loved that. They actually got to pick between a Peloton, a mirror, and a rowing machine. So they actually got to pick, and he chose a Peloton. But just a couple things, as far as the challenges, I think the biggest challenge was doing that sales awards presentation virtually, and Kelly talked about that a little bit. But normally this is a black tie style event, which I'm sure it is for many of you. So we took that opportunity and hosted like an Oscar style virtual event. So we had virtual backgrounds that had a curtain and a stage. We had energizing music. And then our CRO dressed up in a fancy suit to present the awards. And then another fun thing we did that we wouldn't normally do is we did nominations, and we actually shared all the nominees for awards so that we could expand the recognition. And then people just loved, being part of that. Even if they weren't the ultimate winner, we kind of expanded the scope and made people feel appreciated. So yeah, I guess to wrap up, my key takeaways are, the needs of your business should really drive your virtual SKO plan. So like I said, for us, our CRO wanted us to really have our revenue team stay focused on being close to our customers during the first part of this pandemic. And we had to, balance education and customer focus and pipeline generation. So that's why we spread ours out a little bit more. And I guess the other thing I would say is just don't be afraid to try something new. I think we've learned, you don't have to take reps out of the field for a week-long event necessarily. You can have a little bit of creativity and spread it out a little bit and still keep the momentum and energy high. So I think impact, just to wrap up, Eli, we had really high attendance like Jill, because we were able to track it all, right? I mean, if everyone's sitting in a room, you don't really know what they're retaining, but we not only had the high attendance, but we were able to track in Domo who, was retaining and certifying and completing the things and the exercises that we followed up with. We had really, we surveyed reps, but, a higher level of confidence about our solutions and our sales plays. And Eli, I've shared some of the metrics with you before, but we actually had, and we can say this because it's out publicly, but we have had our a record generating pipeline creation by our team over the last 6 months, which is really exciting to be a part of.
I love that. Generated the most pipeline in the history of Domo virtually while everybody was home during a pandemic, because you got them focused. It's you gave us a glimpse into this program when you spoke at Multipliers, and I really wanted you to come in and really kind of double click on it, because it's spectacular what you've accomplished over at Domo with your team. And I know it's a team effort, and
yes,
it's incredible. It really is. You should be proud of what you've done, and
yeah.
Domo as a company.
We have a small but mighty team at Domo. So.
I love it. I love it. So a couple questions, if I may. One question that's come up a couple times, and I think folks, you can all come in as well, but like, how did you choose the topics, right? Like sales plays, and how did you choose it? How did you get consensus around that?
Yeah, and I would say for Domo, it was really, those have been many months in the makings as part of our strategic plans, and talking with our sales leaders and our CMO. We knew that this was going to be a key focus since last year. So we had definitely prepped for it and had everything kind of in order around that. So hopefully that answers that.
And another question, someone's asking a clarifying question around the number of sessions. Can you describe, like, over the 6 weeks, how much time maybe, and how many sessions? If you can
remember. So I'd say over 6 weeks, it was probably 2 to 3 sessions per week, but then there were also, exercises and things they would do as the, post work to that each night, and it was due over a series of weeks. So they didn't have to do it all that day, but we wanted to kind of spread it out.
Right. No, that's great. And then there's a question. Someone's asking, Callie, can you share more about the sales award presentation?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, it was kind of Oscars style, but we had, short write-ups from each award nominee from their leaders. And we had one thing that was fun. We had some virtual applause slides. So like an animation. So every time we announced somebody, there was like applause going on. It was kind of like the Oscars, you'd say, here's the nominees, and have their pictures and their names. And then we had the winner come, winner's slide come up and applause. So that's kind of how we did it. And it was really, what we would normally do live and handing out trophies, it was something that we just did virtually.
So listen, Domopalooza is one of the best conferences out there, and your organization, Domo, always does everything with class, right? And like, did you put the production into the Oscars? Like, was it like Oscar ready?
I wouldn't say it was the full Domopalooza treatment, but we did our best. I don't have, a full marketing team supporting me, but they did help us a little bit with some of the production elements, yes. And it was live. I guess we could have done some pre-recording, and I'm learning now that we probably want to do that for next year because we're already starting plans for next SKO. But yeah.
No, that's great. I think this is a good moment. So first of all, I want to say thank you, Callie, for coming back and sharing. And
Sure.
well, do the three of you have any questions for each other? Are there any questions in the feed that we didn't answer that you'd like to answer? And now would be a good time for folks to ask general questions for everyone.
I see one that was someone has asked about inviting a client to sit on a panel discussion, and I could address that. As I said, for our product training, we had basically 3 paths. One is client consumer, one was enterprise cloud, and one was solutions and systems. Solutions and systems is really where we focus around IT 4.0 and Edge. As part of that whole learning path, we did include one panel that included sales and one of our customers, SUSE. And so it was about how to build partnerships with our systems customers. And it was a really well done panel. Plus we included a video that they have made themselves, a music video on how to pronounce SUSE. And it was, a lot of people really enjoyed that. So I would say, yes, you can use a client to be part of a panel. Obviously we did it to help show how our core sellers can really understand why it's important to partner with clients.
We did it as well, so I'll just jump in. We had clients, we had partners, we had a class of what we call sponsors as well. And I would just, the word of caution is check your technology and make sure that you don't run into any roadblocks from the technology perspective. We even had that with one of our keynote speakers because of they did the feed live from their studio. And it didn't not interpret well through go to web. And so, those are the things that I would just say, it's very easy to kind of know your own infrastructure and what you can do. But if you're going to bring in external, make sure you test everything.
Absolutely. The topic of collaboration, breakouts, group activity is coming up a few times. I know Ashley, when she's going to give us a demonstration of what an optimized kind of SKOx experience can look like. And so she'll show some examples of how collaboration can happen so folks can see it. What comments, do you three want to share on either things you did well or things that, you're going to consider to do better around group breakouts, collaboration to drive that energy at a more local level?
I'll start with just saying, I think we can do better. That's probably our biggest lesson learned, Eli. And just, based on short timelines, we didn't do a lot to do that. So I think this next time we will leverage breakout rooms and maybe do some more, networking type experiences.
Yeah, I would second what Callie said. I think that was the one sort of mark I would say has the biggest opportunity for improvement. Is to look at how you really, that's what people look for when you do the live event, and yet salespeople are virtually networking all the time, so it's a big miss if you don't do it. And I do think there are ways to do it and ways to do it well and interesting and exciting, that pushes the envelope a little bit. And gets the sales organization what they're looking for. We did not do it to the degree I would have liked.
Right.
I would say too, we could, this is an area we could do more with. We, due to budgeting, we were looking at using the in-house technology we were already using. So WebEx is what we what we use, not Zoom, but we use WebEx. And we've had some glitchy issues with breakout rooms in the WebEx platform. So we stayed away from doing breakouts. Our live sessions were generally, they weren't very long. So and we had enough content to where people were still engaged and a breakout wasn't necessarily needed. But we know now with updates in WebEx technology that we can actually start doing breakout rooms. We're going to be playing around with that more going forward.
Yeah, in general, I think this is a great opportunity to enable the frontline managers to be the ones that carry the baton of the reinforcement, of the collaboration, and because you're creating this great content and you can package it up in this huddle concept and make it available and then measure it, right? So I think, you know, in a world where we got to go from live to virtual and we got to orchestrate so much, like that's a big lift. And so now that you've lived through that, I think now we can think about, okay, how do we get the managers to kind of carry? Because I think that's a secret sauce. What would you say? What would you three say about leaning on managers to help with breakouts and the collaboration that could happen in a more engaging way?
Well, part of what we're going to be doing is, since we just recently brought in Sales Hood, and so we're training, you know, we're going to spend our next quarter really engaging with our sales managers on building out huddles and how to really use the platform. So I would expect that would be much easier to do in a future event. We could definitely have our managers really engaging and leading these sessions as opposed to us doing all of the work.
I would say with respect to managers, so we did we did a case study for 500 people, which was a pretty ambitious undertaking. And we had the sales managers be the moderator. And there was some confusion from them about what that really meant. So I say, you need to be very explicit about how you're going to use managers and what the expectations are of them, and get them trained in a very simple way about how to do it, whether it's, something in Sales Hood or not in Sales Hood, in Teams or WebEx or Zoom or whatever you use, or even just, in the eventual go back to your office. It's about how you communicate the expectations and get them prepared and comfortable to do it. But managers are what help you scale. So by all means, use them.
Yeah, I wrote that down, Eli, as an idea. And we actually are experimenting right now and doing different breakouts with just our managers. So I think it's good to get them comfortable with it and kind of experience it. This is for some other things that we're doing with managers. But I think you're right, Jill. Like, it's all about training them up on what you expect and then executing.
A lot of great conversation. And so I'm on the fence now. Do we have Ashley come in and let her show us kind of a dynamic kickoff program and a system? I think we should, because I want to see kind of what an optimized path looks like. I want to see the collaboration. I want to see ideas for how to get folks to collaborate, and let's show people what a huddle is, and then we can come back to the survey results afterward, because there's some good, interesting takeaways there. So let's do that. And again, Callie and Kelly and Jill, don't go away, but thank you very much. And Ashley, we're going to let you take over for a little bit.
For sure. I wish I had a cooler background. I have background envy. Let me get my screen shared here. All right. Can everybody see Sales Hood?
We see it.
Excellent. All right. So I'm really excited to show you, our approach to SKOx and all that we've, done to put all these great ideas together in an organized and quickly deployable program. And so all of your participants in your SKO, no matter their revenue role, is going to be able to access it from their homepage to get this great streamlined experience. And so what's going to be different from what these ladies have shared with you today is the idea of your SKO isn't just the day in-person event anymore. You're able to package this to where folks can get the pre-work and level set. they can have access then, and they know what general sessions are upcoming and get those great pre-recorded sessions, even though none of us actually pre-recorded them, right? From what we heard, and have those videos there. And then continuing on, like everyone's been talking about, it's not just a one-day event anymore. There's going to be follow-up. And so that's the idea of the 30 days here, is that all of that reinforcement, all of that practice and engagement, it's going to continue on to make such a great event for all of your folks who are attending SKO. And so we're going to get started. We're going to talk about the pre-work first. And so one of the things that Sales Hood can offer is putting that guide first, right? We're going to level set. Everybody has questions about, well, what does virtual mean? What is that going to look like? What's expected of me? And being able to, just level set with your executive welcomes and deliver the program overview. Go over those frequently asked questions. Like Jill said, when am I going to get to go let my dog out, right? Am I going to be staring at my screen for 8 hours? That sounds crazy. And you can tell them, no, that's not it at all, right? And so you can talk about what are those breakout sessions. And so you're going to be able to really, truly level set everybody before they even get started. And then there's this great opportunity to use Sales Hood exercises for the discussion board, right? What do people want to know more about? What's going to keep them coming back for more? And so just by using the guide to set everything off, everybody's going to be engaged. They're going to know what to expect. Talking about how do we network? How do I meet people that I don't know? What about people who are new to the company? My team's different. And how do I get to know them? Well, you're going to be able to use Sales Hood to have people record who they are professionally. This is fun. I'll share my screen here and how easy it is to record. Here's your camera and you're able to record no matter where you are. I'm in the spare bedroom / office, right? It's not cool, but now people know where I am every day when I'm not chasing the kids around. And so you can say who you are professionally. I can check out my team. I can meet everybody who's new, leave a shout out, a comment, right? And then go through and actually learn about folks. And this is what's going to be different with using Sales Hood to support your SKO, is now not only did I just listen to who people are, but now if there's something engaging and exciting, I can mention them. I can collaborate with them. And so, yeah, you might be using other tools like Teams or the chat features, but think about having a consolidated place where people can engage and talk and get to know one another. Right. So just like we're going to get to learn who everybody is, we're going to do the same for deal wins. I know if you're familiar with Sales Hood, you know about those deal wins, right? We want to hear, how were you successful? All your peers want to know, how'd you do that? How'd you close that deal? What did you say? What did you do? And you can share that video story. And then again, you can network. And again, it's about applying that knowledge. It's about learning from peers and saying, I learned how Eli did it, and I'm going to do it in 2021 as well. Right? Callie's team didn't generate massive amounts of pipeline by keeping it a secret how they're doing it, right? They're collaborating, they're sharing, they're getting to know what's successful. And so this is the best part though, right? Everybody was excited and wanting to know about the awards and the recognitions. So just as you're getting to know folks and networking, just as you're sharing the tips of what's been successful in terms of selling, here's where you're able to announce, here are the awards and who do you want to recognize? And so you give the field the opportunity to say, this person deserves recognition. This team deserves recognition. And you can actually crowdsource and collect those ideas. So I know a lot of folks in the chat were like, well, how did you decide what to give? And how did you send it? And what does that mean? Imagine being able to have some of that offloaded. I saw that somebody anonymously submitted, I'm a team of one. How am I going to do this? Well, here's how you do it as a team of one, right? You crowdsource this and you give people what they want. And that's going to increase your engagement and have people coming back. They want to know who won the awards, right? And then of course you can level set any of your pre-keynote. And you heard from these guys, use the data to decide what goes here. Where are you faltering in your sales process? That's the answer. That's how you know where to go. So do you need to have an impact on discovery? Do you need to get better at compelling events? Whatever you need going into SKO, whatever your sales force needs, that's your pre-work that you level set everybody coming in on. Okay. And so after the pre-work, everyone feels comfortable, everybody's confident, they know what to expect. Here's where those replays come in. And the replays, it's exciting to get on the call with everybody. That energy's still there, right? Like people didn't change. People still want to hear from the CEO, right? I love when we still do our town halls with Eli. People still want to hear what's going on in our company. Just because it's different doesn't mean the interest isn't there. And so we make it really easy for you to upload those video replays. But then again, it's the ask me anything. It's feeling like you're part of it. It's having a central repository to get access to the video again, the slide deck that was shared, the collateral that's part of it, and being able to ask questions and get them answered, that folks are really going to become aligned with what is the business outcome that we're going to do in 2021. And what does that mean for me and my team, right? And so you're going to be able to leverage all of those great keynotes that would normally have been on stage, but you're still going to be able to create the same experience. Here's the panels. You heard some of, our presenters today talk about panels. Have your top reps on those panels. Have your customers on those panels. And this is a great way to crowdsource those questions, right? Come up and after deliver the FAQ that comes from it, right? What is that customer story that comes from it? Put that replay right here so people can tell that success story. Have your regional breakouts, record those, let people know what that means, right? Address that. And then of course your awards, you can do those replays. Hopefully Callie can share how she did the cool applause at the bottom of the screen. I think that'd be neat. But you can upload all of that so people do get the recognition that they deserve. Right? And so once you're done going through the pre-work and the general sessions, this is where actually, using SalesHood and having a virtual event can actually enhance the experience to what people are used to. They might have had a great dinner. It was cool to see everybody. They heard a lot of great information, but now how are they going to use it? And where is that reinforcement and where's that application? That comes in your subsequent weeks. And here's where those managers are such a big part of what it is you're trying to accomplish with your event. You're going to want to still have your breakouts. You're still going to want to drill down into your industry and your product. But what's going to be able to enhance those keynotes is the coaching that's going to happen with the managers in their teams in between. So now that I know the product roadmap, I know where we're going with product, I know what that means for my industry, how am I going to speak to that? How am I going to still know what to say? How am I going to know that I'm saying it right? Well, you're going to get feedback from your manager, from your coaches. You can still upload live calls, right? And you can still go through a deal review. Remember, SKO is a fun event, but it still needs to impact revenue. And so taking those great ideas that are coming from the keynotes and applying them to what's in the pipeline today is going to help, right? I think we're all probably missing the stand and delivers. I've seen a few awkward ones in my day. I've seen some really great ones in my day. Either way, I still want to see them. So imagine pushing this out to the field based on your time zones, based on your geos at the right time. SalesHood's scalable for you. You can have your APAC run through this together, your EMEA, your North America run through this together, but still having that stand and deliver. And I think it's Callie that said it, you still have your leaderboard. Sales personnel want to see their name in lights. And so you can still have those fun stand and delivers. That doesn't have to go away and to keep that engagement up. Okay. Going through the next weeks, that's the what we sell. You're going to want to address how we sell it. Right? So you're going to want to revisit your marketing. You know what the company goals are from the CEO. You've heard the sales leaders roll out, here are our targets, here's how we're going to get there. And the chief marketing officer is going to be the plan for what you say and when you say it. And so you're going to be able to go through and generate that pipeline to actually come up with your plan. What is your outreach? Who are your target accounts? I think it was Kelly that talked about using the winning by design content. That's what this module is here. So you still have to develop a relationship online. You still have to demo online. And how are you going to help people be successful? You can push these modules that come with SalesHood so folks know how to be successful when they're remote. Okay. After you go through that, again, continuing selling, what you ultimately want is the territory plan. And again, I can't stress enough how important your frontline managers are here. When you train frontline managers how to coach, they will rise to the occasion. Managers didn't get there because they didn't want to be there, right? They have drive. It's just usually a skill will situation. And so give them the skills and they'll do it. They'll be able to coach. You're able to give them tips for them. And then they can go through and help their teams prioritize their accounts. And by the end of the week, when you're, 25 days in, all of your reps have a plan of how they're going to be successful and sell more to help you meet that company goal. And the last row, you know, before we talk about the critical and needing to measure all this, right? We can't leave analytics out of it, but now have a fun pitch challenge, right? You're used to, if I've demoed to you in the last month, you've heard me say learn, coach, sell, right? We did that here. That doesn't change just because it's virtual, that doesn't go away. So still have your keynote, still celebrate your top reps, still have your CRO recording the gold standard pitch, right? Go through and learn it and understand the why, right? Still have your subject matter experts helping you, supporting you, say, this is why you say it this way. This is what's in it for you. And then go through and let them ask me anything. And once the learning's over, have everybody go through the pitch challenge, right? Make it so that everybody has to review at least 3 peers, right? If you set those expectations and precedents, people will do it. They're craving interaction, and SalesHood allows you to run through your pitch challenges, whittle it all the way down, whatever makes sense for the size of your org, the geo for your org, but then you ultimately get to your pitch challenge where everybody's logging in, coming in, and they're recording either their stand and deliver, their company pitch. They've got the scorecard. They know what they should say, how they should say it, what good looks like. And so that's our approach for this SKO learning, is have that fun interactive event there at the end where people are participating together. They may not be in the top 5, but you know they're going to be watching who the top 5 reps are and trying to replicate that success, right? So Eli, I have walked everybody through our SKO approach. And like I said, I want to reiterate, remember, you get all the analytics and clicks from this, and you're going to correlate it to performance. So when you say, well, how do we know we were successful? I've seen that question a few times. You're going to do what Callie's done. You're going to do what Kelly and Jill do. They're going to take all of this and they're going to correlate it to those leading indicators of pipeline created and in conversions of where they are in their sales process. So Eli, I'll hand it back to you.
Nice job. I love that demo. And Ashley, thank you very much. Ashley, please stay on. Please, please, please.
Thank you.
We just launched the Scoax package today, and I'm going to talk about it in a minute. And if folks want to dive in and get a system, we are, true to SaaS. You can sign up for a monthly subscription and you can run a SKO. If you want to run a couple SKOs, you can do a couple months, and I'll show you what that looks like afterwards. But, it's a big deal. We are committed to helping the industry deliver enablement that is at the highest level of value and of impact. And so I think what Ashley just showed is spectacular, and pieces of what she showed, you would see in Seagate's path, you would see in Domo's path, and you would see in Trinet's path. And so now what we've done is we've got a package that is, as Ashley said, deployable. And so you could have it tomorrow, and then that could be the starting point of how you can start tailoring and customizing this. The thing that Ashley touched on briefly was the sales skills. And so there is a full library of sales skills in there as well. Amazing. I think any questions or comments from what Ashley showed from Kelly or Jill or Callie? I see that Callie wrote, good reminder on territory planning and account planning to incorporate into. That's a good one.
Yep.
It's a good one. It's nice. It's great to have the framework, and you can obviously, there's a lot in there, and you can take out some things so you don't have to have all of that stuff. So I think there was a question that somebody asked, like, how do you get ideas on what you're going to cover in your SKO? But that's all about how you plan and where you get your planning conversation with your leadership team and what your reps need and what your managers need, and then you take SKOx and you use what relates to what your needs are. You don't have to do all of that, which is nice.
So nice. I agree. So here's what I want to do. We have a few minutes, right? We're gonna be true, and we're gonna stop at the bottom of the hour. And I'd like to pop up a couple of the survey questions. It's fascinating. We conducted a survey, and I want to get everyone's feedback because I think it's super interesting. Some of the answers that you all shared. We had over 300 responses and 340 almost. And we ran a survey over the last 2 weeks, and just high level, these are 3 summary points. 87% surveyed believe the top 2021 sales kickoff goal is to energize teams. 57% are feeling like Zoom fatigue. Zoom, quote unquote, just online fatigue is something that's going to hinder them from being successful. And gamification is going to be incorporated. 62% of the people said that it's going to be incorporated. So that's the high level summary. Any surprises? What do you all think of these 3 points?
No surprises. Sorry, go ahead.
The one thing that I think the Zoom fatigue is real, and that may be one of the things that you're getting a little pushback on. Like, we're not going to do a virtual event because we're doing this all day long. I think that all 3 of us said that was not an issue. The results and the motivation and the energy and the feedback was all super positive across all 3 of us. And we did video conferencing in some way, shape, or form. Each one of us did.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree with Jill. It was a concern, but it ended up not really being an issue.
I think, yeah, so I got a few more. So I thought this was interesting. You know, I think, what are some of the challenges this year? Most 63% feel burnout. People are tired, right? And I think we just need to appreciate that. And by the way, everybody on this, we're going to send this out. You'll get this as a PDF, and then harder than usual to prospect. The one that I want to go to next, which is really super interesting. This is the one, you know, folks, Jill, that I showed you. Like, I never would have anticipated that improving win rates, building pipeline, boosting productivity, all the revenue outcomes would score lower than, you know, energizing our teams, getting our teams aligned. What does everyone think of this chart when they see 87% energize our teams? It's the in comparison to. What does everyone think of this when they see it?
I mean, I'll jump in. I think, you know, we kind of all gave ourselves a little bit of room for improvement around the networking capabilities for our future event. But when all is said and done, you know, there was energy created because people were doing the same thing. And I think that the push to work at home and be virtual, and you're kind of running your own agenda, your own schedule, people don't have that camaraderie that salespeople thrive on. And so I think that is a big goal, is you almost feel like you're together even though you're not really together, because you're kind of following a similar path during a specific set time frame.
Yeah, I agree with that. It was about creating connection when everybody felt alone or on an island. So yeah, I think rallying them together was super critical.
Yes, I echo that. And, you know, something I was really surprised at early in the year is how impacted our sales organization was by this remote, you know, constantly remote environment. Most of our sales reps, you know, they work out of their homes, and so remote shouldn't have been an issue. But I didn't really account for how important it is, especially when new employees come on board, for them to be able to at least have some initial meetings and to be able to meet with customers face to face. So it really did become this using SalesHood and putting this virtual sales kickoff together really did give people a chance to kind of see each other, hear each other, and SalesHood definitely gave us the opportunity for alignment, sharing success stories, and building confidence. It was really good.
I appreciate your perspectives. I'm going to stop. Oh, actually, let me just go. Let's just flip through. So I think I'm going to go. We've talked about those ones. This one's interesting. There was a big question about topics. What topics did you choose? How did you choose the topics? Folks were asking that in the feed. And you know, it's funny, territory planning's at the bottom, yet folks are, new messaging is at the top. So this is a stack ranked list of what people say are the most important things they're going to want to cover in their virtual kickoff. And messaging is number one.
Yeah, and we talked about this, Eli, in our prep call, and Jill brought it up, I think, but with, you know, this changing environment that everybody is in, I think, well, we were already going to launch corporate messaging at Domo, but everyone did want to relook at their messaging because they wanted to make sure it was relevant to their customers during this time. So it's no surprise, I think, to us that new messaging and skills and plays are at the top.
And Jill, you were focused on sales skills, back to basics, right? I think that's critical. And Kelly, you focused on a set of skills as well. And Callie, you did sales plays. So this is completely aligned with the reality of the three of you. It's amazing.
Planned that. You must have planned that.
Yeah, I wish I was that good. I'd be, and so external speakers is something folks are really looking at in gamification. So those are the two things that are high on the list. I think I just want to do one plug here for folks. We're so excited about SKOx. Ashley walked you through the demonstration. Included in SKOx are the prescriptive paths, the pitch challenges, the video stories, the peer collaboration. Now that we know the connections and the collaboration and the way, and we need to be purposeful about how we get teams together, Ashley has shown you kind of what some of those purposeful SKO huddles look like, but we're going to help companies be really successful. And this is the value that we bring. We're going to roll up our sleeves and help you accomplish those goals of the collaboration, the connections, the culture building, the storytelling. So that's all built into it. And this is where the demo was supposed to be, Ashley. And just for those interested, we're being really, really, how do I say it? Fair with the pricing in the sense of we want folks to know that it's true SaaS. You can buy for a month. And we've got bundles up to 100 seats, up to 1,000 seats, and up to 5,000 seats. And those are the numbers there. It's on our website as well. And so, that's the core of what we wanted to cover today. And I do want to thank everyone for attending, participating. I do want to thank our amazing speakers. Ashley, you did a great demo. Kelly, you spoke beautifully. Callie, you spoke beautifully. Jill, you spoke beautifully. The three of you just told your stories with such authenticity, and it's so appreciated. We're going to go back and re-listen. There's so much gold in there, but I'd like each of you to maybe close out with, what's next? I think there's a question that we didn't really answer. Are you going to do a virtual SKO again? What does the future hold for you with SKOs? Are you going to do multiple SKOs? And maybe just close with that and your final words.
Well, we don't, as far as where we go with Seagate, I think there's still this hope that we will be able to do a live event next year, and we would go back to San Diego like we were supposed to this year. I suspect that, we're just going to be utilizing Sales Hood to do a lot more of what we just did. And that is really where we're going next, actually, is we're building on the energy that we saw from people from our sales organization using Sales Hood. And we've got a lot of leaders that really want to do more with the platform. So we just introduced it to them. We just took them through the sales meeting, and now we're going to really let them loose and show them what to do.
Thank you, Kelly.
Yeah, I would just say, we proved that we could do it. We got great feedback. We'll do it again.
Right.
Same. Yeah, we are planning a virtual SKO right now. Still early, but I've taken away personally a lot of ideas from this group, and with the SKOx package, I could see some things in there that I would want to add in that I didn't think of, but there was a lot of great content there. So thank you.
Right, and obviously customers, it's part of your package, so you all get everything. And Ashley, if folks want access to that, if they want to see it, like what should they do?
Yeah, they should reach out to us. No, if they have my email, you guys can email me, but get a hold of us here at Sales Hood, and I can definitely demo it to you again. I can let you click around and see it, and we can get you set up for success.
Ashley, thank you. And I guess that's it. So SKOx, you can find it out on the website, but the most important thing here is thank you to our amazing speakers for sharing their stories and giving us real life lessons that are practical and usable and repeatable. And the four of you are amazing. So thank you, everyone, and have a great rest of your year. And thanks for being a part of the new virtual kickoff event.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.